demons in the Jewish tradition. So I've been thinking about this a lot recently. And right, so you have to think about cultures that we like to kind of, we started off to say, well, we gotta make our little world so that we all know what we're talking about. And so I'm going to be talking about demons in the Jewish tradition. So that means, of course, we're limiting stuff. We're not talking about, jinn, which are Islamic demons, or, a different tradition. But okay, so the problem is we like to make these definitions with a perimeter, right? What's Jewish, and that's what's inside. But the problem is it doesn't really work like that, because there are demons and demonic lore that preceded Judaism, and then Jews that are doing their thing, right? And they encounter other cultures, and they're like, and the other culture is like, what? You've never heard of the chupacabra or whatever? And they're like, what the, and they've got to deal with like, well, wait, that's outside of our vision. How do we address that demon? And then, and then there, of course, are demons that are within the tradition itself, okay, that develop within the tradition itself. So, so demons are confounding because they present a lot of theosophical, religious problems for Jews. Demons preceded the Jewish people. So Lilith, who is considered to be a famous Jewish demon, really, preceded the Jewish people. Actually, she was started with ancient Mesopotamia, and she's older than the Jewish people. So she's hanging out, right? There's a mythology, call it a mythology or legend or lore. A lot of people feel that those words are disrespectful because they imply a lack of credibility or something like that. But I'm using them in a colloquial way, okay? Like the history, okay? She already has an established history of Lilith, okay? And then the Jews come along, right? Abraham is born, and that's around 1850 BCE. But Lilith was already in the area, so she's already in existence. So then the Jewish people have to deal with like an existing concept, okay, right? And they've got to integrate an existing concept. So that becomes, right, a little bit of an issue, because you've got demons who are now sort of distinct from humanity, right? They are their own thing, like Lilith and Samael and Asmodeus, okay? They're their own thing. And then you've got demons that are byproducts of humanity, like, they're incomplete souls, or they're the angry dead, or, oh, look, I got a text from Doc Hilford who says that he's driving to the hotel and he'll sign in and listen. That is one of our phenomenal participants who I've loved so much. I can't wait to see him. I haven't seen him in years. Anyway, he is he's going to add so much. to the discussion of the participants. Anyway, where was I? Oh, okay, right. They can be the byproduct. Demons can be the byproduct of, you know, human issues, right? They could be incomplete souls, or in part Lilith mated with Adam and produced lots of demons. So now we've got like demons as separate entities, demons that existed before our religion, demons that are outside of our religion, and then demons that are also within our own religion. And so how do we integrate all of those? You know, like how we're busy forming a religion. It's 1850 BCE. We're busy forming our religion. What are we going to do with all of these other characters, which we know kind of exist, but how do they fit into our thing, you know, that we're trying to do? Okay, so the Jewish people have lots of answers. They developed, okay, demons. And demons, they have several categories. There are mazakim, which are synonymous with shadim, and there are kesalim, which are little imps, kesalim. But for the most part, there are mazakim or shadim, and these demons are tiny. They are invisible. They have wings, they eat, they reproduce, they die, they cannot produce physical objects, but they can interact and move physical objects. And so those are the mazakim. Now, Lilith is her own demon, like, and Samael is his own demon, that and Asmodeus is his own demon, and they are sort of like separate entities. The problem in Judaism is that Judaism is a monotheistic religion. So because it's a monotheistic religion, okay, and God is omnipotent, okay, so God is all powerful and he's the one. That means that Jews have to reconcile with two problems. One, is there free will in the presence of an omnipotent God, a God that can do anything? Because how can there be free will if there is an entity that can control everything? And the absence of controlling anything is also, a decision. So so that nullifies free will, but free will is yet a cornerstone of Judaism. So that paradox was grappled with for a couple thousand years and has hopefully been sort of like, resolved. And the other one that is grappled with is that means that evil then must be the result of God, right? And that's why we say, terrible things happen and God works in mysterious ways. Well, if evil, so the Christian, which is also an Abrahamic religion, view of that is that Satan kind of became his own entity, and there's this battle between, he's a fallen angel, and there's this battle between Satan, who's kind of an independent free thinker, rebel, and God, and they go at it. Okay, and God always wins because he's more powerful than Satan, but they're antithetical forces because he's a fallen angel. this fallen angel concept really resulted from the Book of Enoch, which is non-canonical in Jewish literature, really, except for a sect of Ethiopian Jews, a small sect of Ethiopian Jews, and pretty much non-canonical in Christian literature, the Book of Enoch. But this concept of the fallen angel was adopted in Christian literature because it helped them, in the Christian idea, because it helped them solve that problem. To say that, you know, I mean, how can God let all these awful things happen? But in the Jewish tradition, Satan is not, he's not the antithesis of God. He's not the Antichrist. He's not he's not struggling against God and fighting God and trying to trick you against God. Well, he is trying to do that, but what he is a servant of God. He's an angel of God, and he is God's prosecuting attorney, and he's trying to constantly get you to fuck up and mess up, so that when Judgment Day comes along, he can stand there and be like, yo, did this and this and this and this and this, and he can recount your thing and why you were a bad person. So Satan in the Jewish tradition works for God. He's all of it. And so so it doesn't really get, it's like hard to resolve. The Christian tradition is that they, you know, this whole fallen angel and the battle, and then the Jewish tradition is that it's part of God, and that goes to this whole kind of Kabbalistic left-handed aspect of God, that God is both good and evil, and he's all of those things, right? He's everything. And so there are certain threads of Judaism think that, well, you know, they ascribe these demons, these mazakim, to remember I said they could be like maybe angry, dead, or that might produce a demon, or incomplete souls and things like that. So in the Talmud, the Talmudic ideas of demons, it talks about that that the demons they were produced essentially at twilight on the sixth day, right before the seventh day of rest. So they were at twilight. They were these incomplete souls, and therefore those became demons. And so that's one of the many Jewish beliefs. There's all sorts of different Jewish beliefs. Another one is that that demons were produced when you sin. Every time you sin, the name of the sin is inscribed on your bones, and when you die, there is some sort of like metaphysical emission that happens that creates demons from those particularly named sins. So there's lots of different sects of Jews, and lots of different sects of Jews have lots of different belief systems around demons and demonology. But you know, we have some, you know, of course, some level of commonality. Now, I think I already said demons, they're winged, they are in Jewish lore, they do not have hooves like in a lot of Christian symbolism. Rather, they have the feet of birds. And you'll see Lilith, ancient Lilith, depicted with feet of owls, owl's feet, owl's claws. So they had the feet of birds. The male demons had hair. Women demons apparently were bald, except for Lilith, who had long, flowing red hair, according to the Talmud. And then let's see. Oh, yes. And I said that they were invisible. They were tiny. And apparently Rabbi Huna, one of the Talmudic sages, said that we should be very, very thankful that they are so tiny, because if they weren't so tiny, we would be overwhelmed. There's so many of them that we would just be freaked out, and we would be overwhelmed and be incapacitated by how overwhelming they are, because there are apparently 1,000 demons can fit on the palm of your left hand, and 10,000 demons can fit on the palm of your right hand. There are so many that we should be thankful that they are invisible. Now, to protect oneself against demons, you have to leave a little, in the Jewish tradition, we leave a little window open so that there's an area of escape. That's very important. There's an area of escape. Other demonic defenses include Psalms 29, Psalms 91, and Psalms 121. And then Numbers chapter 7, scriptural verses that are demonic protection include Numbers chapter 7, verses 4 through 6. Psalms 109, verse 6 backwards was able to exorcise a demon, I believe by the Kabbalist Chaim Vital. He wrote about that. Interestingly, bells on the high priest's hems of their clothes are anti-demonic. So I love the fact that if you wear bells and have ribbons in your hair is anti-evil eye. So you got bells on your dress and ribbons in your hair. You're very well protected. Circles are anti-demonic. They're demonic protection. Amulets, demonic protection. Demons can be bribed with food and money. They can also be tricked. And they are exorcised by horrific smells. The angel Raphael brought the formula for exorcism to Tobit, and that is stinky fish gall on fire. Spitting is anti-demonic, particularly anti-evil eye. There's gestural anti-demonic magic called the fig, which is like this, and we talk about that in the protection lecture. This is the fig. And the most protective thing against angels is the idea of guardian angels. And guardian angels are produced every time in the Jewish tradition, guardian angels are said to be produced every time you perform a mitzvah or good deed or one of the 613 commandments. When you perform one of those, you get a guardian angel, and then the guardian angels sit at your trial, and when Satan is like, the guardian angels are, sit, be like, well, he did this, and he did this, and she did this, and she did that, and da 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 da. So So yes, Judaism is very litigious. Absolutely right. Well, we're going to talk about that. It is very litigious because the way of exorcising certain demons using demon bowls was to issue them a divorce, a writ of divorce. So yes, it is very litigious. That's very funny. That was a great comment. Yeah. We got some questions. How about that? I don't even know. For now, what do we?
Do you have more to your presentation, or are we into the Q&A section?
I can have more to my presentation, or I can Q&A.
Well, we have some time. If you want to continue presenting, or Dr. J. Alton West just popped in, and we can introduce him. So I think.
Well, why don't we introduce Dr. J. Alton West, and then after that, I will. I can talk about Rashi and why he determined that spirits and demons are different entities, and that demons even are supposed to follow Jewish law. We can talk about that. But let's introduce J. Alton West.
Okay, let's see if he's here. Dr. J. Alton West, are you around? We're going to ask to unmute here and for him to turn on his video. He might have stepped away for a moment.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Okay. There's so many people I'm so glad to see.
I just sent him a message to see if he might be around here.
Oh, like Philip Shane. Oh, I'm so excited to meet and Patricia. Oh, Lydia. Oh, this is phenomenal. And Monica. Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, we have quite a few people here tonight, don't we?
Yeah. Okay. Well then, let's go on. Demons, according to the Jewish tradition, okay, as I said, demons are physical. So demons are invisible. And I think I saw maybe a question from Doc Murphy earlier about, well, then how do you know they're there or something like that? But it was going by too fast. But the answer to that is two. There's two answers how you can detect demons in the Jewish tradition according to the Talmud. The first is that you can spread ashes around your bed, and if you wake up in the morning there are tracks, then you have demons. That's one symbol of demon infestation. Generally, the tracks, for some reason, look very similar to chicken feet. The reason that they probably look similar to chicken feet is, as I've already said, in the Jewish tradition, demons have the feet of birds. So there you go. The other way is there is a formula in the Talmud where you can use the placenta of a black cat and you burn it, and then you take the ashes and you put the ashes of the placenta afterbirth of the black cat, the burnt ashes, in your eyes, and that will give you the ability to see demons. So there are ways of demonic detection, and there are also, in the Jewish tradition, they were, Jewish Kabbalists and rabbis and sages were highly sought after for their abilities to perform exorcism. Now so Rashi, who, that's a acronym for a famous rabbi, spent a lot of time writing about the differences between all of these different evil entities. So spirits are called ruin, and they are formless, shapeless, and they have no bodies. Okay, they do not reproduce. They're not like demons, which are like invisible little rodents, those little guys. And then he spent time talking about the other class of demons, which are Lilith, of which Lilith is one of them, and they are basically incubi and succubi. So there's ruin spirits and mazakim, shadim, and Lilith, and then we can also, there's a whole list of I don't like to call them spirits or evil entities. I want to call them mythological animals, maybe like the Shamir, or like vampires, or werewolves. Werewolves are a Jewish invention, essentially. And I can tell you all about the history of werewolves, actually, at some point. But
we have a quick question in regards to the footprints, since we're kind of talking about that. Someone asked if the demons are so tiny, how can they leave visible prints?
They leave little tiny prints. I don't know, little tiny prints. Maybe they're clusters. I don't know. They can, but what itty bitty prints? Yeah, so that's what someone wrote. Little itty bitty prints. Hey, kitty, cut that out. My cat. So and Judah HaHasid, who was a famous rabbi, said that the demons even followed Jewish law, actually. So they studied the Torah as well. So, you can't really you can fool demons, actually. That is one of the methods of defense. You can fool them.
Someone wants to know, how tiny are they?
Well, like I said, Rabbi Huna said 1,000 on your left hand and 10,000 on your right. And so in the Jewish tradition, they're all around you, and you should be, there's so many that you would, if they were visible, you would be like overwhelmed and freaked out and have a panic attack. So, I mean, that's how many, they think there are, which is why you need to leave like a little crack open in your window open so they can get out. Because that was one of the big problems in the idea of the Jewish tradition, is that they come into your house, but then they can't get out. So because they can't get out, they create havoc. And so one of the methods is to create a potential space for them, like a roach motel, where they prefer to go in there, like a demon trap, and then you get them into the trap and get them out. That's one of the ways of getting them out. Now, Ruhin, that led to I know that people are going to, I haven't brought it up, but as soon as I bring it up, people are just going to like start asking me all sorts of questions about this stuff, about Dybbuks. So so that is a possessing evil entity, a Dybbuk. Okay. And, and the Dybbuk box has become very popular. And there's like a whole new movie out there about Dybbuks and Jewish possession and stuff like that. And it's true that in the Dybbuk lore, Dybbuks look for houses that have an unkempt mezuzah. A mezuzah is the little scroll, a protective scroll that we put outside of our door, and they looked for that, an unkempt mezuzah to attack, or no mezuzah, to attack those people in that house because they are spiritually lax. Now, the sign of a successful exorcism of a possessing spirit, such as a Dybbuk, because not all spirits are possessing spirits, but the ultimate sign of a successful exorcism is blood coming from your fingernail. dripping out of your fingernail.
So I've got a quick question here. I don't know if we're switching over to Q&A, but some people are asking. So Monica wants to know, do Jews believe they enter through the mouth?
Yes and no. So they can get in kind of, so there are demons called Bat Melech. And I'm not sure if we're specifically talking about Dybbuks, but there are several demons that can enter the body. Bat Melech is a demon of contamination and of unwashed hands. And this is why Jews are commanded to wash their hands like 7 times a day. Okay. And it enters through your eyes, touching your eyes and your nose and your mouth. Also, uncovered water containers, and Jews drink out of, often have the tradition of drinking out of white containers, and also the idea of plinging a glass. Ping, 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 ping. When you're at a wedding and you hear that, and people are like, let's make an announcement. Ding, 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 ding. That bullshit. That is an ancient thing to tap your glass to get the demons out. The ding is annoying to the demons, and the demons of contamination leave your glass. So that's why everybody is doing this at the wedding. That's why people started doing this to do that, and then they realized, they're paying attention, and it's like, check, 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 mic check. But check, 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 mic check actually was doing something beforehand. It was part of the get the shit out of my glass before I drink it. And so demons can enter that way. You can consume a demon by drinking it and taking it in. That idea also is, and I was going to talk about this tonight, and I posted it on our Discord, is that there is a specific type of demon that haunts the bathroom. And my cousin, Joseph Caro, who wrote the last great codification of Jewish law, tells you all about how to go to the bathroom in the outhouse correctly so that a demon doesn't sneak his way up your butt. So yes. So someone just said demons are germs, and that was one that. So you're getting into a whole different area. You're getting into, and we can't talk about that right now. But yes, because Jews had a very rudimentary concept of the germ theory by calling it demons rather than germs. This is in part why Jews became doctors. And Jews became doctors because their magic was allowed under an exclusion. The exclusion was that anything done in order to save someone's life is not evil, and therefore is allowable. Even praying to Jesus was considered to be allowable if it was something that we felt would save someone's life. And that is how a lot of magic entered Judaism, and that's why Judaism has a long traditional history of doctors. And someone already brought up litigious lawyers. Yes, this is a training. This is a part of their training of thinking, and it's a part of the fact that the Jewish diaspora, after Rome invaded, they could not own land. So everything that they had to do, right, was portable. You don't think of Jewish farmers in the Midwest. Of course, there were Jewish farmers, there were shepherds and blah, blah, blah. but you don't think of like, and that's because farming, it requires you to own land. And if there's you can't get out of town fast, right? So if there's a pogrom or, like everybody swooping down on the Jews, you can't get out of town. You got and you're screwed. So what did they go into? Jews always went into the saying was work with your mind, not with your hands. So they went into things that were highly valuable that were also highly portable. And one of those things is your mind. So you could become an entertainer, because you can entertain anybody, anywhere, anytime, as long as you're good at it. It's portable talent. You could become a doctor. It's a portable talent. You can become a lawyer. It's a portable talent. You can become an accountant. It's a portable talent. So these are the things, these are the reasons that Jews dominate these kinds of industries, because for 3,000 years or 2,000 years, that's what was really open to them. Okay, so we're touching on a whole bunch of subjects that are not outside of demons, because you got me going. But anyway, go ahead. Next question. Pose the question.
Yeah, so this is kind of one that's a little bit off topic, but whenever we were talking about werewolves, someone asked, actually Doc Murphy asked, actually it wasn't Doc Murphy, I've got to scroll up a little bit more. I think the question was, do vampires come from Jewish history?
Yeah, so there's a lot of connection with vampires in Jewish history as well. The idea of blood-sucking and estry, which is a blood-sucking vampirus who and the way that you, or a broxa also, and you the way that you can defend against them is with salt and bread. You can control them by grabbing their hair, and to make sure that someone doesn't become an estry, you stuff grave dirt into their mouth when they're dead. But I think that vampires as a whole probably have developed multiple cultures more than, say, the history of werewolves. The werewolves really does have a primary, is a Jewish mythological creature. The concept of a werewolf and turning into that whole thing. It comes from an 11. So Benjamin was supposed to be a werewolf. He in the tribe of Benjamin, and that's why he couldn't go anywhere without a doctor. And in 1150, a famous rabbi, wrote a whole thesis on why Benjamin was really a werewolf, and this thesis of Benjamin being a werewolf permeated the local culture, which was Germany at the time, and he had written things like the way to defend yourself against a werewolf is using a firebrand, and it's in my book. I'll talk a bit about that. And that permeated from the Jewish culture into the local Germanic culture. Okay, and then in the 40s, when Germanic Jews came to emigrate to the United States, so by then werewolves were a thing in Germany, but they weren't a thing in the United States. And there was a Jewish writer and cinematographer that wrote the werewolf story, the werewolf, the werewolf, and that became the first film in the United States. And the remake of which was with Benicio del Toro, in fact shows that scene of him defending himself against the werewolf with a firebrand, and all of that stuff is from essentially this paper from like 1150 in Germany by a Jewish rabbi, and it was brought over. Yeah. It's in American film now. Next.
Someone asked, any chance someone can spell those names? And I'm not sure what they were referring to for those.
Oh, okay. Well, it's 7:24. We're almost done. That's why I was like,
Yeah, so let's go ahead and just open it up for questions, and we'll see what we can answer here.
Yeah. How do I? Okay.
And I'm just scrolling up in the feed to just see if I missed anything.
Yes, whenever the family has any kind of continual bad luck, they will have their mezuzah checked for imperfections being unkosher. Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Oh, here we have some questions.
So someone just asked, why did God create demons? Okay, so that was one of the questions that the Jews struggled with, right? Like, why would he create, like, he's supposed to be the good guy, like, why would he create this annoyance? Cut that out. And that's, I mean, it's an opportunity for you to make decisions and have free will. Okay, it's something for you to battle and be a test of you to see if you can navigate your way to being a good person. So now, many people think that some Jewish people think that all of demons were the spawn. They weren't created on the sixth day at twilight when God was busy creating all the stuff, and then he didn't finish his work. That's one theory, right? They're incomplete souls. He was working, God was working, he was doing his thing, and then all of a sudden you got to rest on the seventh day, and now it's twilight, and it's like he only got half his work done, which to me kind of like makes a little not very much sense, because he's omnipotent. Just like turn the clock back, or like, and you're working in advance, like a little planning, like my daughter does for her homework. Seems a little sloppy to me. Another Jewish theory is that demons were the spawn of between Adam and Lilith. So remember, Lilith was a pre-existing demon before the Jewish people. So she had to be like incorporated in Jewish culture. They were like, well, what do we do about that thing that already exists? Well, we've got to figure out what that is and how it fits into our modality, our belief system. And so they were like, we got to retool this thing. And so they retooled it by saying, okay, well, we'll talk about Lilith as being the first woman before Eve. And in the Zohar, not the Bible, but in the Zohar, which is another Jewish text, they go like, they call her the first Eve. She and Adam are created out of the same dust, but she refuses to be submissive to Adam and to be on the bottom while they're having sex, because she says we're both made of the same dirt or the same mud. Why should I be on the bottom? And he gets pissed off and she gets pissed off, and she decides, I'm going to become a demon instead and rule my own world. I'm out of here. but she still has a total crush on Adam. And so Adam and Eve, Eve comes next, comes Eve. She's, well, there's debate as to whether or not Adam is really a hermaphrodite and that Eve is part of Adam, or whether or not she's the rib of Adam. That's fine, whatever. Eve comes, and Lilith still has a crush on Adam. And then Adam and Eve get thrown out of the Garden of Eden, and they're like in exile for like 120 years or whatever. And during that time, Lilith sneaks up on Adam every night and steals his semen and produces tons and tons and tons of demons with the semen of Adam. So she's a semen stealer and a child killer, a baby eater, and a succubus, and all at once. And so she's stealing all the semen, and this is why Jewish men are not allowed to sleep alone at night. That's one of the rationales that we have to have that's true. We're not supposed to sleep alone because we could be attacked by Lilith. Yeah. And there can't be, after intercourse, any mess either. It has to be cleaned up because she could steal the semen. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, and just so you know, the little demons that were created, they are called Witchten. Witchten. And that's a German word. And the Witchten include hobgoblins and fays. Fays are Witchten, which were naturalized in France, according to the Jewish tradition. So, Dr. J. Alton West, I see that Dr. Murphy just said that Dr. J. Alton West has joined us. Can we spotlight him?
Unmute yourself, Doctor.
Yes.
I've been enjoying this. I've been driving I had a lecture from 8:30 to 9:30 my time, here Eastern Standard Time, Miami time, and I've been enjoying listening as I'm driving back to the hotel.
Oh, awesome. Wonderful. Well, let me introduce Dr. J. Alton West. He was with us for the Hoodoo Heritage Festival and spoke at the Hoodoo Heritage Festival, and now he joins us both as a speaker on the Torah, the Tarot, and the Tree of Life. He's also going to be doing some, I believe, Kabbalistic tarot readings for us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I love alliteration, right?
Yes.
Torah, Tarot, and the Tree of Life. How can you beat that? No, it's each of those are guiding forces for not only a way to live, but to look at where we've been and also prophecy where we're going. Combined, they are an unshakable source of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and wisdom. It's phenomenal. So we're going to play around with some of those readings, and it actually, it'll show people, hopefully it'll show people a different flavor to the tarot and an easier way to look at the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. It goes back to what you're saying also about the antithesis of God and this sort of modern American thought of what Satan is and what he isn't, and how it's a little bit of Judaism, and it's a little bit of peripheral Christianity, and too many people think they know what they're talking about, I think, out there. And if we get back to those two trees, right, in the Garden of Eden, there we have the God's tree and the tree of self. And and I think that's kind of what you said is there is the opposition to God, is the trying to use self-determination that ends up spinning mankind around and around from that moment on.
Well, I saw your lecture already. I got a chance to preview Dr. J. Alton West's lecture, and I have to say it is going to be a phenomenal counterbalance kind of lecture to to Fairleigh Theta. And Fairleigh Theta, her lecture is very interesting, and it's very academic. And your lecture also super interesting, but it's almost
well, I'm a deep believer. So
it's very practical. You will be able to use what J. Alton West, what Dr. West, Reverend West does. You will be able to use your tarot and integrate it. He has this I didn't really know Kabbalistic tarot. So the way he's laid it out is that you can go from a place to a place and know both where you're at and then how to get there and reach your potential. So it is a really, this is awesome. I was really excited about it.
Thanks, Rabbi. I'm we actually make a chart as we go along through the lecture. So it's kind of a piece of paper and pencil sort of lecture, but man, it is a lot of fun. It's really eye-opening. I love it. I've loved listening to you all night, and you're very academic. You're very much a theologian. I'm very much a hands-on practitioner.
Yeah.
I'm totally sold on the Book of Enoch, by the way.
I love the Book of Enoch. I think it's
down with Ethiopians, brother.
I think it's absolutely fascinating. What? That actually brings me to mention. I want to do a quick shameless plug, as if I haven't done it already. But I'm going to do a quick shameless plug for my book, which I just released, and I want everyone to know that it's like 250 pages or whatever. This book, and it's practical Jewish magic for everyone. So you don't have to be Jewish to do Jewish magic. It's super. You don't have to learn Hebrew. Nothing. And I'm going to tell you,
it's easy and accurate. It's easy and it's
yes. It has over 800 spells in it, and I talk about all the source materials in the book, and you guys can feel free to go spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on the source materials and getting the source materials, or you could just spend this and get all the good stuff from those source materials distilled into this one book. Seriously. That's my quick shameless plug. Where can we buy it? Someone said you can buy. I said it's on templeofmiriam.com. Yeah.
And I'll put a link to that right now.
I'm sorry for the shameless plug, but I gotta say it just came out, and I'm super crazy proud. And should I tell them about the joke on the front? What do you think? Does anybody want? There's a joke on the front of the book. Does anyone want to know?
Now everyone wants to know.
Yeah, I know. Okay. it's a mathematical joke. On the front of the book, there is this concept, and I'm not going to go into it because it's very, very complicated, but there is a concept of what's called the Rebua Kasem, which is a number, a square, like a table of numbers. And then you can add up the numbers in any different direction, either like a cross in a row, or you can add them in a column, and it will always be the same number. The total will always add up to the same number. And these things are part of learning Jewish magic. And they do them both with numbers and with letters. But I decided to take it to a next level and do it in 3 dimensions, because Kabbalists have never done a 3-dimensional cube in this way, a Rebua Kasem cube. So yes, Doc Murphy says it's like a tesseract. So I just wanted to show people, it's kind of a reference to the fact that there's always another dimension out there that we're not thinking about. There's another dimension. Why is 39 plus 1 a popular number? 40. Well, someone just recently asked that question of me in the Jewish tradition, and I have to tell you that in the back of the book, either Appendix 2 or 3, I can't remember which, is Jewish numerology. And the number 40 does have mystical representations because we spent 40 years in the desert, and Noah had 40 days and 40 nights, and 40 does occur many times in the Bible with a it does have a mystical meaning, but I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, what was the next question? Yes, right. A 3D matrix is just a cube. It's not a tesseract. That's correct. Okay. All right. Hopefully, I want to answer any questions left. Is there anything that I missed, William?
Not that I'm seeing. Where can we buy it? We answered that one. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and post them for us and we can get to them here.
Please say the Psalms. Which Psalms?
Are the Gnostic spirits Jewish demons? That's a question.
Are the Gnostic... Wait,
are
the Goetic?
Sorry, completely
Goetic
misread
spirits? That. I don't know the answer to that, and I can, if you want, and whoever wants, if there's someone who wants me to tell them what their personal psalm is, I can do that. Is that what they're asking? I don't quite understand.
That'll be a whole nother 2 hours.
No, I'm sorry, Dr. Jeremy. I was asking, what was the Psalms and the numbers verses when you're talking about something about repelling or repelling
anti-demonic Psalms.
Or
yes.
109.
Okay.
Right.
Good question. Okay, I gotcha. Anti-demonic Psalms. The most famous and the most powerful one is 91. Okay. And in the Jewish tradition, on the way home from so demons and bad spirits not only inhabit cemeteries, but they also inhabit synagogues. And in fact, Samael, the angel of death, keeps his tools in a synagogue. So, in the Jewish tradition, everybody who leaves a synagogue needs to be walked home, nobody is to leave alone. And if there is a particularly slow person in the congregation who can't keep up, the leader, the rabbi or chazan who's leading, is supposed to slow down so that that person can keep up, and then walk that person home so they don't get attacked by demons. Now, demons are afraid of the moonlight. Moonlight is more anti-demonic than sunlight. And like I said, on the way home from cemeteries, we say Psalms 91, and you're supposed to stop 3 times and say Psalms 91. Now, yeah, I know we don't say it on the way home from the synagogue. Well, as far as I know, but the other anti-demonic Psalms are Psalms 29, Psalms 121, and then scripture, okay, biblical scripture is Numbers chapter 7, verses 4 through 6. Verses 4 through 6. Now, Psalms 109, verse 6. That psalm allowed King David, according to the Jewish tradition, to send a Dybbuk, an evil spirit, to King David's enemy. But saying 109 verse 6 backwards is an exorcism ritual. So if you had a possessed person or a demon that you wanted to exorcise, you might say 109 verse 6, say it backwards, and blow a shofar, the horn, right? And force the demon to say his name, her name, okay, by torturing them, Asmodeus or whatever, and then you can control them and expel them. All right, where are we? Yeah, 109:6. Sorry, for self-study purposes, can I spell an estrie as ESTRIE, which again is WITCHTKIN, and Broxa is BROXA, and they're all in my book too. I think in my book I included a little one of the appendices is Jewish supernatural entities, which is really kind of fun because it talks about, the golem. I don't know if you know the golem. The golem is the clay. It's like what inspired Frankenstein. It's you can make life out of clay. So we talk about the golem, Bat Melech, dragons. In the Jewish tradition, dragons are different. Dragons are demons that enter the homes, usually seeking safety from the thunder and lightning that frightens them. So, because demons are frightened by lightning, if they're loud noises, they don't like that. While harmless in the home, it will be consumed by fire upon the dragon's departure. So they can come in and wander around and mess with your stuff and, jump on your cat and whatever, ride them, woo, or whatever. But as soon as they leave, your house bursts into flames. It's no good. So, and then someone asked about the estrie. These are female Jewish, and this is from my book. Estrie, these are female Jewish vampiric demon witches. They particularly prey on small children, but will not hesitate to eat a full-grown adult. Their preferred victims are male. Estrie can fly, change shape and are brought to full health by a diet of human blood. While in their demonic state, if they are seen by a human or wounded by a human, they will die. The male counterparts of Estri are werewolves. Dracula's wives, Doc Murphy says. Okay, great. That's true. Dracula's wives. Yes, backwards means not just the whole words. You have to say the sounds backwards. And this is where all of this business with the Beatles and playing the song backwards. In Judaism, it's all logocentric. It's all about the sound. The sound is the magic word, abracadabra. It's the magic sound. Okay, so yes, it's the magic sound. Okay, Dybbuk. Let's talk about Dybbuks. First written about in 1602, this type of evil spirit had already been well known for innumerable years. Born from the death of a person who lived an egregiously sinful life, this restless spirit can take possession of the bodies and animals and humans. Demons who have taken possession of humans can only be expelled through the powerful methods exemplified in the Mahash book. Dybbuks are usually male and prefer to attack women. All right. Oh, so, yeah. Someone has to go to sleep. Oh, say Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was made from clay. Awesome. I didn't know that.
So someone had just asked if demons can die.
Yes, yes, and they do die according to the Jewish tradition by Rashi. Yes, they live and die. That's one of their characteristics. They're invisible. They have wings. The male demons have hair. The female demons are bald. They poop. They mate, and they die.
Interesting.
Yep. Now, I love there's a great, okay, I love this one. I don't know if I can pronounce it correctly, but there's a demon named Kordiakos and it's defined by Rashi, who was a famous rabbi, and the Talmudic scholar claims that this is the name of the demon that rules the person who drinks too much wine from the vat. So there's a demon, there's a booze demon. There's a booze demon. Are new demons always coming into the world? By Diana Prescott. Yes, new demons are being generated. Yes, and they can be generated, like as I said before, by your sin. Your sin is engraved by your bone and then on your bones. And then when you die, you have this metaphysical emission, which forms into a demon. And so your sin, each time you sin, it becomes a demon. And this is why you need to have guardian angels and only be a good person.
So we've got a question here. If you're sending a demon to someone who is bad, how do you protect yourself first? Or if you're cursing someone who's bad, how do you protect yourself before and after?
So, yes, cursing in the Jewish tradition is incredibly dangerous. And really, you have to be so careful because the only persons that you're allowed to curse are evildoers themselves. And you yourself, by cursing, are running the risk of doing evil. So you can say, you could say, that bitch, I wish she would die. And she deserves it. She did everything wrong. But maybe she's the mother of a child. So you have to be very, 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 very careful with the cursing. It can reflect back in the Jewish tradition. It can reflect back on yourself and be even worse. So, right. I heard that demons were made at dusk before Shabbos. Right. That's what. So they are somewhat neutral. Is this true? That's that myth that I told you. They were made at not myth. I don't want to say myth. That's the story. That the explanation is that they were made at twilight. Those are the incomplete souls. God. On the seventh day, God rested. So twilight on the sixth day is in between where, it's like right on the pivot of where God is supposed to stop working. And so if there were incomplete souls, one of the ideas is that he didn't finish those works and those incomplete souls became demons. Instead of myth, say cultural story or lore. Yeah, I get you. You're right. I can't figure out what to say really, because I'm not even sure that lore is it's their story, whatever. It's their belief system. It's what they believe, their belief in the way history unfolded.
So T wants to know, how do you cleanse yourself from someone that has harmed you?
Oh, are we talking a person, like a sorcerer, or are we talking a demon that's harmed you?
A person.
Excellent. Okay. I don't know if you're part of the Jewish Magic Festival, but there are, oh yeah, that's great. One of the methods is, and I love this. It's called, it's, and I've just kind of become hip to this and noticed it now. Wait, let me just back up, okay? Before I answer your question, I'm going to say that, like Doc Murphy, she's a formally trained anthropologist. I am completely an idiot and completely an autodidact.
Stop calling yourself an idiot. Just knock it off.
I'm an autodidact. And stop that. I can't. I've got fine. And so see, now you threw me off. What was the question?
You're not an idiot. I think everybody.
Right, but what was the question? It was like how to protect yourself.
Yeah. So the question is, how do you, I believe, cleanse yourself from someone who has harmed you? A person.
From someone. Okay. Yes. Right. So what I have learned is that there's these interesting different types of forms of magic. Like as an autodidact, I've learned these interesting forms of magic, like sympathetic magic, right? And that's like voodoo dolls. You take the needle, you stick it in the doll, and it's sympathetic, right? It's supposed to happen to the person that you're sticking the needle, sticking the doll, right? They're supposed to react. And then there's contagious magic, which is like hot footing, where like the person is supposed to walk over or nearby or come in contact or drink the tricked item. Okay. And now we're talking about protecting ourselves. And I ran into a new way of doing that. And that I love. And that is called reversal of fortunes. There's lots of ways to protect yourself, right? You can set up a protective circle. That's the shield. Can't get in. You're blocked, okay? That's blocking. I love that. Can't get in. Shield. Awesome. But what if you have someone who's throwing nonsense at you, bad energy at you, and you want to just karmically screw that guy, let him get his own shit back at him? That's called reversal of fortunes. And we have this concept that you can trade fortunes with someone. So if there's someone out to get you, I'm going to teach you how to swing it back and throw it back on them. And in hoodoo, we call that shit double action. Okay. So does this mean that in the Jewish tradition, you can't judge who could be cursed or not? Getting revenge on someone who wronged you may not be okay because that person may not be intrinsically evil. Yeah, that's right. You got to be real careful who you pick and choose to curse. That's right. It can come back. You can't be just like, adding bad into the world because you think you're God and you know it all and you've got every perspective. You got to remember that, there are multiple perspectives in the world. Like, let's say you want to, someone wronged you. That's fine. They wronged you and you're like, screw them. They cheated on me. Okay. And I want them to break up. Well, okay. Well, yeah, but it turns out that they have kids. Do you really want them to break up? Like those kids need to, maybe you want them to get back to, it's not good for you. They screwed you over, but there's another person involved. Can't always be all about you, right? So there's other perspectives in the world going on, and it's not always up to you. Now, there's obvious evils going on. Okay, I've already been chastised about this, but we can all agree Hitler, obvious evil. Mussolini, obvious evil. Pol Pot, obvious evil. Okay, you can just be like, feel free to curse that person. Okay, no problem. Yeah. Well, all right. Next question. You cannot judge who. Yeah, we already did that one. Oh, whoa. At what point does one determine what's justified or not? It's very hard. You really aren't supposed to be in that position. Everyone in some kind of way is someone's child, father, mother, brother. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. It's really, you've got the person who's highlighting that it's not your decision because you don't really know all the facts. Correct. So curses need to be very rare. You can't just be tossing them in and out all over the place. Does getting professional advice help? Yeah. Okay, listen. There are 3 what we consider unbreakable laws in Judaism. Okay, for us, in the Jewish tradition, there are only 3 unbreakable laws, meaning even the 10 commandments are breakable. There are only 3. Even though we talk about the 10 commandments, there are only 3 unbreakable laws. They are idolatry, okay, putting other gods before Yahweh, that particular God. They are murder, and they are non-consensual sexual crime. Okay, rape, incest, those horrors. That is considered to be as horrible as murder. So those are the 3 unbreakable things. Everything else is up for discussion in certain circumstances. So we are commanded to curse the Amalekites and the enemies, the evildoers. We are commanded to curse those, but you better be damn sure who's an evildoer. And if you're not sure, mind your own business. Okay. Yeah, murder, rape, and idolatry. All right. Any other questions? Yeah. Don't hurt anybody. Yeah. Try, your job in the world is to create as many angels as possible, right? Your job is to tilt the balance of power to good. So yeah, there are destroying and destructive angels, and there are some Jewish theories that demons are in fact destructive angels, because they too are under the command of God, because in the Jewish tradition, God's number one. They have to be subservient, which is why some demons are thought to follow Jewish law. So, if you atone for your sins, does that erase the sin written on your bones? I don't know the official Jewish canonical thought on that, because I can't ask the person who wrote that, but I can tell you that true atonement would, in the Jewish tradition, relieve that, which is why we do have a Day of Atonement. But atonement must include not just thinking about being sorry, but atonement includes the concept of making amends with that person, making it right. And that is what's called tikkun olam, or repairing the world, healing the universe. Tikkun. It's to heal, it's to right the wrongs and restore the balance. Temporary stay in Gehenna, yes. Or Gilgal, yes. So I'm going to touch on Gilgal. Someone mentioned Gilgal, and they say, so Gilgal is, so remember we said we were talking about these other supernatural entities, angels, demons, and then mythological creatures. I don't want to call them mythological creatures, but werewolves, vampires, okay? And okay, there is Gilgal. Gilgal is the reincarnated soul. So many Jews believe in reincarnation. That is a fundamental part of many Jewish traditions. Not all Jews believe in reincarnation. Some sects of Jews believe in reincarnation. And the Gilgal is the Jewish soul, or the soul. When you see people praying, and they're at the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall, and they've got the talit, or the prayer shawl over their head, and they're going like this. This movement is called shuckling, and that movement reflects the fact that your soul is like a candlelight and flickers as you glow with pious religiosity, you begin to flicker. Legendary creatures, yes, legendary. I like legendary creatures better. Are you touching mezuzahs? Yes, of course I'm touching on mezuzahs in the protection lecture. That's like that's number one. Yes, that's a great. So for those of you who don't know what mezuzahs are, they are a scroll that is attached to the outside of the door in many Jewish homes, and everybody knows of the 10 commandments. We've talked about the 3 essential rules, and now we're about the 10 commandments. Those are like the 10 basics. And then Jews have a whole nother set of commandments, and they are 613 commandments. And I'm going to tell you a couple of things about the 600. They're divided into things that you shouldn't be doing. So there are negative commandments. Don't do that. Like no rape, Okay. And there are things that you should be doing, the positive commandments, like go to temple and be a nice person and give to charity. Okay. So there's negative and positive, and those commandments are 613 commandments. Okay. And I remember that because 306 and 307 and they adds up to 613, and those were the two rooms that Martin Luther King was staying in when he was assassinated at the Lorraine Motel across from the Lucky Heart Mojo Hoodoo Supply Company. So 613 commandments. When you do those commandments, every time you do one of the 613 commandments, you gain a guardian angel. And then one of those commandments, the 613 commandments, is to put a mezuzah on your door. And a mezuzah is anti-demonic. So I often fight with conventional rabbis. I don't want to say fight. We discuss the fact that they say witchcraft isn't allowed in Judaism. And I say, really? What about that little amulet that you put on your door to keep demons away? What the hell is that? And they go, yes, but we're not commanded to put it on because it keeps demons away. It does do that. We're commanded to do that so that we fulfill the mitzvah. The mitzvah says just put one on your door. So it's hilarious to see how they like shuck and, get out, away out of that. So, all right. Can anyone use a mezuzah? Yes, anyone can use a mezuzah, and many people do who are non-Jewish, and many Jews carry them as a necklace or in their purse, and many non-Jews do as well. And in fact, even the Pope has done that. Many of the popes have carried mezuzahs. Okay. The entire Talmud is just debates. That's true. Yes. And that's good, because that means that what I like about the Talmud is that you can see the thought processes going on, the theological thought processes going on over time. And as opposed to like doctrine, which is just handed to you, and they're like, this is it, this comes down from the authorities above, this is what you're doing. You can see like, I don't know if I agree with that. And there's lots of Jews that don't agree. So, and you see that play out in the Talmud where they're fighting with each other. Yeah, Rabbi read it. That's hilarious. Rabbi read it. It's hilarious. What's the difference between Kabbalah and Judaism? Very good question. Okay, how can someone keep track of the 613 commandments? They're written down. You can look it up on a Wikipedia. Okay, so the difference between Kabbalah and Judaism. Judaism is a religion. Kabbalah is a mystical practice that happened within the religion. It does not contain all of Jewish magic. It is a very specific type. So, for instance, let me put it in a non-Jewish way. You've got Christianity, right? And that's going to contain Catholicism and Methodists and Protestants and evangelicals and Pentecostals and Baptists and a million different varieties, of Christians, right? And then you can have a Christian magical practice within Christianity. And so the other Christians might be like, woo, woo, but it's still its own folk magic and folklore. And that's the same thing with Kabbalah. It's its own little contained kind of thing. I heard the Kabbalah was whispered in Moses' ear while the law was being given to him. Well, I don't know. Sweet nothings. Sure. I heard laughing.
That's me. We're being social, right?
I mean, the Kabbalah really didn't happen until the 12th century. That's what defines the Kabbalah, is that it occurred in the 12th century. It's a type of mystical practice in the 12th century and occurred and arose in Provence and Spain. And then spread out from there. So what do you do with the magic that was before the 12th century? Is that Kabbalah? No, it's not Kabbalah. And then what do you do with the magical practices that the Kabbalists didn't include in their own construct, right? So that's then that's Jewish folk magic. You have Jewish folk magic, you have Kabbalah, and then today you have Kabbalah and Jewish folk. You've got,